right, I will call us back to order. Board of Supervisors meeting. I hope everyone had a nice lunch. We will go to agenda item 18, county action to enhance human trafficking prevention and coordination. This is an item brought forward by Vice Chair Vargas, and we will go first to her for some introductory comments.
Thank you, Chair. I am really proud to introduce this board letter, which was going to help strengthen San Diego County's efforts in human trafficking prevention and coordination. As many of you know, San Diego County is among one of the highest regions in the U.S. with human trafficking, with anywhere from 3,000 to 8,000 victims each year. And according to the FBI reports, in 2005, our county was in the top 13 cities in the U.S. for child sex trafficking. Human trafficking victims can be of any age, race, ethnicity, sex, gender, identity, sexual orientation, nationality, immigration status, cultural background, religion, socioeconomic class, and education attainment level. In the U.S., individuals vulnerable to human trafficking include children in the child welfare and juvenile justice systems, including foster care, runaway, and homeless youth, racial or ethnic minorities, migrant laborers, LGBTQ+ individuals, and victims of intimate partner violence or other forms of domestic violence, to name a few. It is heartbreaking for me to know that the average age of a human trafficking victim in our county is 16-year-old. When I think about that, I think about the fact that my nieces are that same age, right? And the data, when we think about data, these are not numbers, these are real people. And survivors of human trafficking often tell nightmarish stories of abuse, torture, and desperation. Last year alone, in the community, I heard firsthand from a family whose daughter was a survivor of human trafficking and the horrific experience and trauma endured. Her story, in fact, inspired this initiative proposal before you today. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that there's a lot of really good work that has been done, that has been happening here in the county, and that has been done good work underway that to address this issue. And a lot of the efforts have been led by our District Attorney, Summer Stephan, along with some of our other county departments and local organizations. But the truth is that there's a lot more work that is needed to further elevate this issue and to strengthen our work to prevent and support our human trafficking survivors. I am hopeful that today, with everyone's help, we will continue working together to find a holistic solution to human trafficking in our county and beyond. As a safety net for our community, it is the county's responsibility, and we have an opportunity to lead and work on prevention of this crime and support for both survivors and their families. Today's proposed action strengthens our commitment as a county to combat human trafficking in our region. And among the recommendations proposed in this board letter is the development of recommendations for the establishment of a peer support navigator program, which after hearing from many of our community members, this establishment of a program like this would coordinate efforts between our public safety group departments and health and human services to provide critical services and support to survivors and their families as they transition to independence. Additionally, in ensuring that we will help meet the needs of human trafficking survivors, it is critical that victim-centered, culturally competent, and trauma-informed services be made available, including but not limited to housing, behavioral health services, family services, legal assistance, employment readiness, job placement, and other services deemed necessary to provide the greatest opportunity for survivors of human trafficking to be free of exploitation and thrive, and for them to thrive. This board letter also directs our county staff to work with community partners to create increased awareness about this deep problem and increases prevention at all levels in our community. Power of this is that by partnering with numerous stakeholders, including our schools, there's work already done in our schools, but there's a lot more that could be done. There's a real opportunity not only to educate our youth, but also the parents to prevent human trafficking from occurring in our region. As we observe National Human Trafficking Day this month, we need to elevate this issue and strengthen our recommitment to identify solutions to this life-threatening problem in our community. We need to continue to improve the process and services we provide to survivors and their families. No child or adult should have to go through the horrors of human trafficking. I am committed to working with our community partners, elected leaders, and our law enforcement authorities to ensure that we increase prevention strategies. I want to thank everyone that helped work on this board letter, and especially District Attorney Summer Stephan and our county staff for the work they currently do in prevention. Lastly, I want to share with you all that in honor of as I mentioned this morning, in honor of National Human Trafficking Prevention Month, the County Administration Building is going to be lighting up in blue this evening, and I urge all my colleagues today to support this proposal. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve this proposed action.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm happy to second that. I appreciate all the work that your office is doing, our district attorney is doing, and everyone is doing together. And I think the recommendations in here can certainly help our regions. So I commend you for all your work and happy to second. Let me ask the clerk to call forward any public speakers we have on this item, and then we'll come back to the board.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher. We have 8 requests to speak by phone on this item. Also note for the record that we received 41 e-comments on this item, 34 in favor, 2 in opposition, and 1 neutral. Any members of the public that requested to speak on item 18 by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. You will have 2 minutes to address the board. We'll ask you to please begin by stating your name for the audio record. I'll remind the callers that they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll begin with our first caller.
My name is Jamie Beck, and I'm the president and managing attorney of Free to Thrive. I started Free to Thrive 5 years ago to fill the unmet need for legal services for human trafficking survivors. In the time since I began this work, I have seen tremendous progress in the services available to survivors. The County of San Diego has been a huge part of that progress. Since that time, the county has developed significant resources to fight human trafficking. In fact, Free to Thrive wouldn't exist without the support of San Diego County and the DA Summer Stephan. Even with all of the energy and resources that have been devoted to this issue, we still have a long way to go. We have a lot of momentum raising community awareness around this issue, but that momentum has subsided in recent years. With many of the issues impacting our community as a result of the COVID pandemic, human trafficking has taken a backseat. But ignoring it won't make it go away. The pandemic has exacerbated the vulnerabilities that put our children on a path to exploitation. The only thing the pandemic hasn't slowed down is sex buyers and employers who exploit their workers. I'm inspired by Vice Chair Vargas's leadership on this issue. The recommendations in the board letter are a vital step forward to supporting survivors. Those of us working in this space work as collaborative as possible, but we are still working in our silos. That is why we need to develop a strategy for coordinated victim-centered services as the letter recommends. Moreover, having peer support navigators will help survivors navigate the various community services available to them. It is my sincere hope that the board letter reinvigorates the efforts to combat human trafficking in San Diego and support survivors in our community. Thank you, Vice Chair Vargas, Chair Fletcher, and the entire board for taking a stand against human trafficking.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Audra, Human Trafficking Prevention Month. Yeah, right. Like you guys are doing anything to prevent human trafficking. In fact, I mean, the borders are open. I mean, you guys need, unregistered voters, so let's just let them in. How about the hospitals allowing illegals to come in and have their babies or, they basically become slaves. What about all these children that have come into the United States and are unrecorded as far as where they're going? I mean, you guys want to act like you're preventing something, but you're offering a solution to a problem that you're not stopping, just like everything else. I mean, I swear it's just sad that you won't even stop them from coming over illegally, but you want to help them. I mean, all these children, who are the sponsors that they're going to? Where are they going? Is that even safe? I mean, the fact that you guys won't even stop it from happening, but you want to help the people after it's happened. I mean, it's just kind of like all the other problems you create, like, oh no, there's no police force. Let's bring in the sheriff. Instead of doing your job and actually fixing the problem, you offer a Band-Aid to something that you are allowing to happen. It's a disgrace. I wonder how many of you are involved in the trafficking. That's a very valid question. I mean, all of you have, nefarious agendas that you want to put through. And so I just wonder, like Nora, how many people have you trafficked into the United States? Who knows? Take care.
Thank you. We'll now hear from our next caller.
Buenos días, María. No hay opción para comentar solo oposición o no. Andrew, deja de colgarle a la gente legalmente. Tengo 3 minutos. Eso fue discriminación asegurar la frontera.
Ok, un momentito, señora.
Finalmente arrojar luz sobre el tráfico.
Un momentito.
Yo tenía 14 años
Señora.
cuando me llevaron a Tijuana varias veces y me obligaron a pasar gente ilegal aquí a San Diego o a los Estados Unidos. Casi se llevan a algunos niños cuando vivía en el este del condado por los depredadores sexuales. Esto debe tenerse en cuenta que hay enredaderas.
Okay, I am just opposing to this. I think that this is just discrimination. You know, I don't know why people are forcing others to bring them here to San Diego. At one point, I had to do it with some of the kids at the east of San Diego. You know, and I know that I only have 3 minutes, but, you know, I just feel that this is discrimination. I know that I only have 3 minutes to speak, you know, but this is discrimination since I was forced to do this with others.
Buenos dias, Maria. There is no option for comment, but only opposition or not. Andrew, stop hanging up on people. Legally, I have 3 minutes. That was discrimination. Secure the border. Thank you, Nora, for finally shedding light on the trafficking. I was 14 when I was taken to Tijuana several times and forced to pass illegal people here to San Diego or the United States. They almost took a few kids when I lived in East County by the sexual predators. This needs to be addressed, but there are creepers.
Thank you. Now hear from our next caller. For the next caller, your device might be muted.
Yes, my name is Erica Diaz. I wanted to say thank you to Supervisor Vargas for all the support towards victims of human trafficking. As a resident leader with SBCS, our cohort supports your efforts and looks forward to working with your team. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chair Fletcher, that concludes public comment on this item.
All right, thank you for all of that. Interesting as always. We've got a motion and a second. Let's go to Supervisor Anderson, and then we'll go to Supervisor Wasson-Reamer.
I wanted to thank Supervisor Vargas for bringing this forward, and I also wanted to thank Summer Stephan, our DA. Summer, you've done a fantastic job. You've been at the hallmark of this issue throughout the state, and I just want to thank you for your leadership, and I'm happy to support this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Anderson. Supervisor Wasson-Reamer?
I really want to thank my colleague, Supervisor Vargas, for this item. I think it's just so important to be taking action. And as you said, there are human lives that are affected every single day in our community. And, you know, because we're at the border, I think that the problem is even more exacerbated. So thank you for bringing this forward. And I also want to thank our DA, Summer Stephan, for your ongoing leadership, you know, just keeping us as a community laser focused on this really tragic issue, and making sure that we all are continuing to work tirelessly to do everything we can to protect people in our community who are victims and make sure that the perpetrators are brought to justice. And I'll be proud to support this action to better partner with you in your work and continue fighting this issue in our communities.
Thank you. Supervisor Desmond.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to also thank Supervisor Vargas for bringing this forward. This is a very important issue, very, you know, and we do not want to be in the top 10 or the top 13 or whatever in the country for human trafficking. And we would need to, you know, do a lot better. And I know Summer Stephan's done a lot of work as well. And, you know, the more people, the more aware of this and fighting it, the better. So thanks.
All right, thank you all. We've got a motion by Vice Chair Vargas, seconded by myself, to approve the recommendations in Agenda Item 18. Not seeing any additional requests to speak. Let me ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you. Supervisor Anderson?
Aye.
Supervisor Lawson-Remer,
Aye.
Supervisor Desmond,
Aye.
Vice Chair Vargas,
Vargas, aye.
Chair Fletcher.
Fletcher, aye.
That motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
All right, let's go to agenda item 19, receive a report on San Pasqual Academy and approve actions on campus operations. Let me turn it over to staff for a presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair Fletcher, members of the board. Today, Dr. Kim Giardina, our Director of Child Welfare Services within our Health and Human Service Agency, will provide your board an overview of the item requesting to receive the report on the San Pasqual Academy, referred to as the Academy, and improve action on the Academy campus operations. With that, Kim.
Thank you, Nick. Good afternoon, members of the board. The Academy opened in 2001 and is a first-in-the-nation residential education campus designed to meet the unique needs of adolescent youth in the foster care system and to prepare them for self-sufficiency upon exiting care. Through a partnership of public and private agencies such as New Alternatives, Inc., San Diego County Office of Education, Access, Inc., through support of the San Diego Workforce Partnership, and Child Welfare Services, youth are provided with residential, education, work readiness, and child welfare case management services. Over the last 5 years, federal and state legislation have significantly shifted the statutory requirements for keeping children safely with families, resulting in sweeping legislative changes that identify home-based settings with resource families as the best placement option for youth and reducing the reliance on and use of congregate care. As a result of federal and state legislation and statutory changes focused on keeping children with their families and preventing child maltreatment, child welfare has experienced a 39% reduction in the number of youth in foster care and a 69% reduction in the use of congregate care over the past 10 years. Additionally, as Child Welfare Services continues to deepen prevention and family strengthening efforts, fewer youth are entering into the child welfare system. The youth who cannot be safely maintained in their homes with their families and enter foster care have often been exposed to severe complex trauma and present with significant mental and behavioral health needs that require more acute and intensive care and interventions. With the enactment of Assembly Bill 403, also known as the Continuum of Care Reform Act in 2015, California placed a new emphasis on utilizing home-based settings with resource families for youth in foster care and limiting a youth placement in congregate care settings, such as the Academy. In addition, the Federal Family First Prevention Services Act, which passed in 2018 and required full implementation by October 1st, 2021, limited the availability of federal funding for placement in congregate care settings. Through multiple discussions on how to preserve the Academy's unique program as permitted through the parameters of these new laws, the California Department of Social Services approved a 3-year pilot project for the Academy for the period of December 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2021. On February 8th, 2021, the California Department of Social Services notified Child Welfare that the Academy's pilot project and supporting memorandum of understanding to continue the Academy's ongoing operation would terminate effective October 1st, 2021, rather than December 31st, 2021, because the Academy's current educationally based residential program model is not an allowable model for foster care under the Federal Family First Prevention Services Act and Continuum of Care Reform legislation. On March 16, 2021, the board directed our CAO to request an extension from CDSS for the MOU operating San Pasqual Academy through June 30th, 2022 to coincide with the end of the 21-22 school year. In response to the request, on May 3rd, 2021, California Department of Social Services offered an extension to the term of the MOU subject to several conditions, including restricting new placements at the Academy. Subsequently, on May 18th, after a review of the terms, the board directed the CAO to enter into an agreement with CDSS and have appropriate staff available to meet with all interested Academy partners and stakeholders on ways to expand the use of the Academy campus. More recently, on December 3rd, 2021, the San Diego Superior Court issued a preliminary injunction restraining and enjoining the state from terminating New Alternatives group home license for the group home located at the Academy, provided that New Alternatives continues to comply with the licensing standards currently in existence. The injunction shall remain in effect until final resolution of the litigation or other court order. As stated by the Superior Court, the intent of the preliminary injunction is to leave in place the currently existing licensing for the Academy, so that if the appropriate decision makers wish to continue operating the Academy, then the Academy may continue to operate. Furthermore, on December 23, 2021, the California Department of Social Services lifted a condition in the MOU restricting new placements at the Academy. On June 1st, 21, prior to the restriction of new placements at the Academy, there were 72 youth placed, and since that date, 29 have transitioned to a home-based setting with family, relatives, or a resource family, gone to out-of-county college housing, transitional housing programs, supervised independent living placements, and a few required detention at Plansky Children's Center or Juvenile Hall due to behavioral concerns. 14 youth graduated high school. As of January 1st, 2022, 43 youth are placed at the Academy, with 11 anticipated to graduate high school in June. To maximize community reach and engagement, Child Welfare Services partnered with the Children's Initiative and Harder & Company in August and September 2021 to conduct 7 key stakeholder focus groups to contribute input on alternative options and proposals for the Academy campus. Focus groups were completed with former foster youth, Academy partners, community partners, the Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board, including the Foster Alumni and Youth Community Empowerment Subcommittee, relative caregivers and resource families, foster family agencies, short-term residential therapeutic program providers, transitional housing providers, Child Welfare Services staff, and county and legal partners. In October 2021, a report titled Re-envisioning San Pasqual Academy was completed, summarizing the community input gathered with an emphasis on common and divergent themes and ideas for potential uses of the Academy campus. Overall key takeaways from the focus group feedback include a strong emphasis on keeping the campus serving foster youth, the importance of maintaining education services, both on-site and coordination with off-site schools. Mentoring should continue to be part of the programming, both from peers and grandparents, and maintaining family connections, visitation, and ongoing family finding should be a central component. Suggestions were also provided for enhancements to the Academy that include more college and career prep and independent living skills services, access to mental health and substance abuse services on-site and off-site should specialized treatment be needed, healthcare services to be available on-site, and enhanced transportation services to strengthen opportunities for youth to go off-site. There were also some concerns about mixing various foster youth populations, although alumni youth pointed out that youth often overlap in the categories allowed under the Family First Prevention Services Act, so it may not be difficult to manage multiple populations. Stakeholders also considered and provided recommendations for other potential youth populations to be served on campus, such as unaccompanied minors and youth involved with the juvenile justice system, if the campus were to be utilized for populations other than foster youth. In order to keep the youth a central part of the process, input on core features that should be sustained were gathered and include preserving the home-like environment. The stable relationships with house parents help facilitate healing for youth. Maintaining the sense of community and alumni connections that bring a unique strength and center of support. Striving to keep siblings together, keeping services all in one place so that youth are more likely to take advantage of them, and providing a wide variety of services, enrichment, and extracurricular activities so that youth have a better sense of normalcy. Other important considerations when thinking about the future of the campus from the youth perspective included looking for multiple options to maximize the number of foster youth populations that can benefit from the Academy's expansive space and campus infrastructure. Continue serving multiple generations so alumni have a place to get support, keeping the home-like feel and consistent relationships, building stronger connections to the community so that it's not quite so isolating being at the Academy, enhancing education to better prepare students for college, and putting more emphasis on vocational training and career readiness. To align with federal and state requirements for reducing the use of congregate care and to maximize the number of youth in foster care served while meeting their unique and diverse needs, A continuum of placement types have the potential to coexist on the Academy campus. These placement types include temporary shelter care, home-based care, transitional housing, congregate care, and intensive crisis settings. Transitioning the Academy campus to a home-like, multi-purpose campus will support youth needing emergency and temporary care in a temporary shelter care facility, mirroring the services and supports provided at the Polinsky Children's Center to include physical and mental health services, medication support, and crisis services to all youth entering the facility and throughout their length of stay. In calendar year 2021, 195 unduplicated youth entered Polinsky from North San Diego County alone. The inclusion of a temporary shelter care facility as a component of the multipurpose campus will allow youth residing in North San Diego County needing emergency shelter to remain in close proximity to their families, communities, schools, and natural support systems. Resource family homes provide a lower level of care in a family-based environment supported by resource parents trained and approved to provide both temporary and permanent care to youth. Resource parents can also be specifically trained and certified to provide intensive services above a standard resource home to youth who have a higher level of need and can be safely maintained in a home-based environment. Including resource family homes as a component of the Academy expansion with the goal of transitioning the current group home model to resource parents will provide opportunities for youth to step down from higher levels of care and placement into a less restrictive, home-based family-like setting that can also support sibling placements. A short-term residential therapeutic program, or STRTP, is a licensed and accredited residential facility that provides specialized intensive and therapeutic 24-hour care, supervision, and intervention to youth. Under the Family First Prevention Services Act, there is concern that STRTPs with more than 16 beds will be classified as an institution for mental disease and will no longer be eligible for Medicaid funding. Child Welfare Services currently contracts with 9 STRTP providers, 4 of which have more than 16 beds and may consequently need to reduce their capacity. Adding STRTP beds as a component to the Academy would allow Child Welfare Services to maintain the capacity to serve youth in San Diego who need the treatment provided in this higher level of care program. One area of need in San Diego County is to provide intensive crisis programs for youth experiencing mental health crisis that may or may not require inpatient treatment. Intensive crisis programs provide short-term crisis stabilization, highly individualized therapeutic intervention, and specialized programming. Intensive crisis programs, such as the Children's Crisis Residential Program, will build the county's capacity to provide a high-quality continuum of care to meet the needs of all youth, including those with complex or specialized needs. Transitional housing will provide a placement opportunity and supportive services for current and former foster youth, ages 18 to 24 years, to advance their goal of self-sufficiency, maintain a safe environment, and avoid homelessness. Retaining alumni housing supports on campus, maintains the connection for youth who lived on campus while receiving the supports and services they need to successfully transition to adulthood. Likewise, the SPAN program has also long been an important contributor to the Academy's success. The SPAN program consists of older adults, referred to as grandparents, living on campus who develop natural relationships with the youth, offering mentoring and life skills opportunities. Maintaining the support of the SPAN program continues the unique intergenerational mentoring and fosters a sense of community within a supportive environment. Transitioning the Academy campus to a home-like multi-purpose community will create a robust and innovative continuum of services and placement options to benefit as many youth in foster care as possible, meet the diverse needs and complex challenges of youth, and accelerate enhanced well-being and permanency. Full implementation of this multi-purpose campus with a continuum of placement services and supports and diverse programming will require time and a staged approach to support the additional planning and outreach with the community, a comprehensive fiscal analysis, identification of funding streams, establishment of regulations and licensing and procurement processes. When fully operational, the proposed initial stage can potentially serve up to 116 youth and 8 alumni households at any given time. And this initial stage will include approximately 80 beds under the existing educationally based residential program licensed as a group home, up to 36 beds for resource family homes, 14 cottages for the SPAN program, and alumni housing. Maintaining the existing group home programming, inclusive of the comprehensive high school with small classroom settings and enhanced educational focus and supports, aligns with the preliminary injunction and will support a trauma-informed transition for youth remaining on campus with minimal impact to their well-being as the campus transitions to a continuum of care multi-purpose campus. The current residential education program ensures the county provides placement stability to youth currently placed at the academy while working toward a transition to utilizing resource family homes. Over the last several years, Child Welfare has engaged in strategic planning to determine how best to utilize the academy campus to address the changing needs of our community, as well as the changing statutory framework, while building upon the academy's success. Recent events provide legal support for maintaining existing programming at the academy, but the county also has the opportunity to maximize the use and capacity of the academy campus by expanding it to include a continuum of placements ranging from resource family homes to more structured settings for youth with higher needs, along with appropriate services and supports. This reimagined campus will extend the successful outcomes of the academy to a wider population of youth in foster care and maintain a sense of uniqueness and inclusive community for San Diego residents. Today's actions request the following from the board: receive of the report titled Re-envisioning San Pasqual Academy, approval to continue operations at the academy as needed to support the transition to a continuum of care multipurpose campus, authorization to issue a competitive solicitation for resource family homes and a group home at the campus, authorization to issue a competitive solicitation for specialty mental health services for the group home at the campus, direct the CAO to develop a plan for utilizing the campus as a multipurpose campus to serve youth in foster care upon receipt of further guidance from the state of California and the federal government regarding licensing standards and revenue sources, and return to the board to bring forward recommendations for implementation and resource needs. And direct the CAO to continue to explore options for a mixed-use campus, looking at a combination of youth populations to include those in foster care, those youth at risk of entering foster care, unaccompanied minors, and youth interacting with the juvenile justice system, and to develop a plan for implementation. We want to express our deepest and sincerest appreciation to all of the youth, academy partners, the Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board, Child Welfare Services staff, advocates, and supporters for your time, input, and contributions to ensure that the voice of the youth and community is lifted and integrated into the ideas, proposals, and re-envisioning of the Academy campus. Your participation exemplifies the sense of community that the Academy embodies and will extend to the next phase, vision, and purpose of the Academy. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this item. This concludes the presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for both the presentation and all of the incredibly hard work during difficult situations and conflicting guidance. We get told something by the state, courts rule something else, and I appreciate your commitment to serving as many kids as we possibly can there. I know a number of board members are going to have comments on this. Why don't we go to our speakers first? Let's hear from the public speakers, and then we'll come back to the board for discussion around this item.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher. We have 14 requests to speak by phone on this item. Also note we did not receive any e-comments on this item. Any members of the public that requested to speak on item 19 by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please begin by stating your name for the audio record. I'll remind the callers that they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll begin with our first caller.
Hi, my name is Joan Scott, and I have been a volunteer at San Pasqual Academy for over 20 years. Thank you, Supervisors, for your attention to San Pasqual Academy and for putting it on today's agenda. We are all looking forward to coming together to welcome more foster kids to this very successful home and school. These last 11 months have been devastating to our foster kids, staff, and many others. The judge in December cleared up any misinformation regarding San Pasqual Academy and its license and ruled that it can continue to operate. It is needed. It was built for foster kids, and they need to continue to care for foster kids. We are very appreciative that the Board of Supervisors is taking immediate action to place more foster teens at San Pasqual Academy. Currently, there are more than 300 siblings separated from each other. We are hoping that more siblings are soon reunited. A recent article in the Union stated that there are over 3,500 foster kids in the system. We all want foster kids to remain in one place, attend and graduate one high school, and not be moved numerous times. We hope that at the next board meeting, we are all thanking you for placing more foster teens at this underutilized school and home. Thank you for taking immediate action to increase enrollment, reunite siblings, and work with local, state, and federal officials to care for more deserving foster students. Please continue to make our foster kids a priority, and again, thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathy Lathram. I'm a board member of Friends of San Pasqual Academy. I've been involved with this organization for 20 years. And thank you for this opportunity to speak in favor of San Pasqual Academy. Because San Diego County Superior Court opinion is that SPA is properly licensed through the state of California, please formally request that the state of California seek a waiver of the Families First Act provision that precludes federal funding for San Pasqual Academy operations. San Diego County has successfully sought foster care waivers in the past. San Pasqual Academy's unprecedented success will likely lead to a favorable granting of a waiver request. Thank you for this opportunity. And I thank you also for supporting your support and commitment for the successful residential high school that serves our foster teens. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
I'm Carrie Summerhays, mother of 4, and I've had the tremendous privilege of associating with many remarkable young people as I've volunteered at SPA for the past 19 years. I've personally seen lives change as the students embrace the SPA education, the extracurricular opportunities, the uniqueness of the entire community, including house parents, grandparents, and then the students become successful contributing adults. It is great news that SPA now has the opportunity to continue its unparalleled success of the past 20 years as a residential education campus for foster youth. We respectfully ask for your direction in implementing some recommendations in order to reassure SPA's current and future students and to eliminate the chaos of uncertainty. The implementation of these recommendations will eliminate fear, assure the continued dedication of faculty and staff, and will rally continued community support for these very deserving teens. Please assure the current and future SPA students of their continued residency by a direct statement that SPA will continue to serve youth on campus now and in the future. This assurance will eliminate fear and contribute significantly to the students' overall well-being and success, academically, mentally, socially, and emotionally. Please accelerate the process to increase the SPA student population. The San Diego County Office of Ed is ready to increase staffing and services for an increased student population. What a great opportunity for the County of San Diego to afford more students the opportunity to experience the excellent education, extracurricular opportunities, the connections, the lifelong friendships and relationships that can develop in the unique positive wholeness of the SPA community. These students have the opportunity of continued support as they pursue higher education and transition into adulthood. These recommendations will assure a safe and happy place for these very deserving foster youth. They can continue to be cared for, grow, develop. I wholeheartedly
thank you. Your time is up.
Favorable consideration, your support.
We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good
afternoon, County Board of Supervisors. My name is Debbie Syverson, and I'm here to speak on behalf of support of San Pasqual Academy. Thank you, County Board of Supervisors, for your support. Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher, for sending his letter of support for San Pasqual Academy and the critical role it serves in our community for our foster teams. Also would like to be able to assure that our current students at San Pasqual Academy have an opportunity to hear from our staff, our campus director, our house parents, that San Pasqual Academy is not going to close. They are not going to lose their home, and they can concentrate on their academic achievements as we are getting prepared for our June graduation. So please take action immediately in informing our current students that they will be able to remain at San Pasqual Academy. They will be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Shantae Battle, item 19.
Please proceed.
Hi, yes, my name is Shantae Battle, speaking on item 19. I am a former foster youth, resource parent, adoptive parent, and I am FACES. Adverse Child Experiences, or ACEs, is proven and is a true public health crisis, impacting the lives of many, including our current and former foster youth. Board of Supervisors, you have a huge opportunity to ensure the youth at SPA have effective resources to mitigate ACEs impacting their lives, starting with their own awareness of their ACE score and the development of positive childhood experiences and protective factors. FACES recommends that every young person at SPA, whether living in the group home or in a foster home, have access to quality mental health services to heal and strengthen their well-being. Caregivers must have the same access to effective resources, making healing and wellness a community approach at SPA. It is imperative that the organization providing mental health services verify through evidence-based outcomes that their services and approaches are trauma-informed and have significant impact to mitigate the impact of ACEs as an eligibility criteria. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
My name is Simone Higgs Monroe. I'm a former foster youth and SPA alumni, and I also am with FACES. Board of Supervisors, you now have an extraordinary opportunity to positively impact the lives and futures of our San Diego youth and young adults impacted by the foster care system. To maximize your opportunity to fulfill our collective commitment to youth-centered solutions, the most important stakeholders of this vote, your current and former foster youth, must be prioritized and be at the core of every decision for San Pasqual Academy going forward. Therefore, to achieve this youth-centered commitment, FACES has made critical recommendations for your full consideration today before your vote is taken. This includes establishing a permanent foster youth and alumni advisory board as part of the SPA blueprint, embedding lived experience experts as partners in leadership, decision-making, implementation, and assessment of SPA policy and practice. We also suggest that any and all youth populations being considered to attend SPA have the same opportunity to contribute their knowledge and expertise in focus groups and interviews as essential data to determine if and how the SPA campus might be a good fit. This is a time for true and transformative change. Let this be the day that we create a new model of shared accountability by honoring the lived experience of current and former foster youth and other populations. By placing us at the forefront of this vote, you have the power to seize this moment for us and with us as never before.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
My name is Kaylin Coons Bates. I am speaking on item 19. I am a former foster youth SPA alumni, and I am FACES. One size doesn't fit all. I am confident that rings true for your own children, as I know it does for our youth experiencing foster care. For the 24 homes at SPA to operate under the same campus rules and expectations is limiting and does not meet the unique needs of each young person. FACES is recommending a necessary cultural shift to occur at SPA to transform SPA from a system model of staff supervising students to a family, community-led model of children being raised by caregivers. FACES recommends that each house at SPA runs independently, with each home led by a resource family who has the choice of the daily functions and activities of their home that addresses the unique needs of their children. For this critical cultural shift to be effective, the investment of resources, skill strengthening, and support must be provided to the caregivers as well. The community approach to raising youth in foster care is the best model for San Pasqual Academy. Board of Supervisors, make this part of your vote today. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from our next caller.
Shane Higgs Thomas for 19.
Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Shane Higgs Thomas, speaking at item 19. I'm a former foster youth, SPA alumni, and I am FACES. Creating an environment that values, respects, and prioritizes the safety of young people is a primary responsibility that needs to be taken seriously at SPA. FACES recommends that there be a zero-tolerance policy for misconduct that violates or endangers the mental, physical, or emotional safety of SPA students. To ensure this, FACES recommends a third-party organization be identified to conduct investigations of misconduct, including staff to student, student to student, and leadership to staff issues on campus, with thorough investigation and appropriate consequences and safety measures put into effect. In addition, FACES recommends an ombudsman for students at SPA to have a neutral party to share challenges or safety issues being experienced in their lives. It is important that students have a neutral person to contact to share about those issues who does not have positionality or authority over their placement, daily living, or the quality care received. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Kylan Bolden on agenda number 19.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Hi, yeah, my name is Kylan Bolden. I'm speaking on obviously number 19. I'm a former foster youth, and I'm FACES. In my own lived experience and my work supporting my foster youth community, the preparation and skills needed for youth to transition to adulthood have been absent or far from effective. Board of Supervisors for San Pasqual Academy to be youth-centered and multi-purpose. For it to be a youth-centered and multi-purpose campus, independent living skills must be foundational to the students' experience and development. FACES recommends that 4 community-based organizations are identified and offer independent living skills for SPA. These organizations must demonstrate evidence-based outcomes in providing practical individual self-sufficiency services for youth and young adults that verify their approach is youth-centered and leads to positive results. We want our youth and peers to enter adulthood more prepared than we did. Please contribute to this necessary evolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Darnea Young, item number 19.
Go ahead.
I am a former foster youth and a past student from SPA, and I am FACES. As a youth in foster care, I made the decision to emancipate early from SPA for my best interest. As a result of emancipation, I was not provided any educational resources and experiences to help create a meaningful my success. I am one of many youth at SPA who experienced the lack of quality education. To prioritize youth and their educational, FACES recommends An assessment be completed by youth and alumni to assess the quality of education provided at SPA. Our alumni and current youth are the experts on how their education from SPA has impacted their lives during and after foster care. Let's learn from our lived experience experts. In addition, FACES recommends that all entities at SPA commit to and honor the law of origin law, allowing and supporting the rights of each student to choose the school that aligns with their educational goals, interests, and needs. This youth-centered approach will empower young people to choose their path to success. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
James Hidds Monroe, number 19.
Go ahead.
Oh. Hi, my name is James Hidds Monroe. I'm a former foster youth, SPA alumni, and I am FACES. For too long, youth at SPA have not had the opportunity to assess or influence the quality of care they receive. FACES recommends that youth-centered outcomes are established in collaboration with youth and alumni that addresses education, self-sufficiency, well-being, and personal power. We also recommend that a quarterly assessment process be implemented to measure youth satisfaction and the quality of care they receive. Some critical resources that need to be assessed and influenced by both youth and alumni include food quality, outing and experiential opportunities, extracurricular activities, functions of the campus, and staff evaluations. As an initial step towards this recommendation, FACES is seeking your support to administer the SPA Student Experience Survey to both current youth and alumni of SPA. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Osborne, speaking on item 19. I am a former foster youth SPA alumni, and I am FACES. For 20 years, SPA has prioritized the traditional lens that every youth should go to college. As someone who has lived experience in foster care and has provided direct service to foster youth, this education focus alienates youth that have interests and talents that don't fit the post-secondary education box. The youth also need their life tracks invested in early increasing their self-sufficiency, success, and well-being. To cultivate our youth interests and talents and help them determine their own path to success, FACES recommends that the SPA campus provides both educational and career pathways for students, expanding from high school diploma to include the integration of trades and certificate trainings. For this model to be youth-centered, FACES recommends that an aptitude assessment be integrated into the SPA blueprint, giving each student the autonomy to identify their own interests and create an intentional plan. With their caregivers' support to explore each interest fully. Board of Supervisors, you have the opportunity to influence our young people to graduate from SPA with the choice over their direction to success. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
It's the SPA blueprint, giving each student the autonomy to identify their own interests and create an intentional.
For the next caller, if you could mute your TV or video stream, please.
Support to explore each interest fully.
The next caller.
Good morning, Maria. Daguerre pronouns are Chicana Americana. You know, some social workers named Helen Sullivan love to steal kids, so be careful because some of these kids are taken illegally. Stop putting family members on a catchy listing and alienate family doctors that are social workers. Some may have been taken under false allegations. Tara Lawson-Remmer. The caregivers need it more realistic and relay to their own family.
Move on to the next caller.
Hello, my name is Mark Burrows, and I am the proud superintendent and principal of the San Pasqual Union Elementary School District, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. We at San Pasqual Union share the board's commitment to meeting the needs of all children in San Diego County, especially our foster youth. And as the board decides the future of the academy, I wanted to make sure that you understood our role in the process and the importance of your decision on our students. While the Harder and Company did a commendable job with the Re-envisioning San Pasqual Academy report, it didn't fully address the needs of the younger students residing at the academy. San Pasqual Union School is a small K-8 one-school district in Escondido, and although it wasn't part of the original plan for the academy, we've been educating middle school students residing at the academy for nearly 20 years. But unlike their high school counterparts, these students don't receive their education at the academy, and to the contrary, these children who typically come to us within days of being removed from their home and with all the challenges inherent in that traumatic experience, do not receive the full complement of services and supports and educational benefits that the academy has to offer. And quite honestly, the model doesn't make a whole lot of sense from the standpoint that students who are younger and in more immediate need don't receive these services until years later. And we wanted the board to consider the fact that the academy should include an educational component and additional supports for these younger students so that they can be as successful as the high school students are. We also wanted the board to take into consideration, especially on expanding of the program, the appropriateness of mixing the younger students with the older students in a congregate care facility. Our goal, similar to the Board of Supervisors, is to provide support and positive outcomes for these students, and we appreciate everything that you can do to support them. Thank you.
Thank you. Now move on to the next caller.
Hello, my name is Andrea Reynolds. I am a volunteer and board member with the Friends of San Pasqual Academy. I would like to personally thank the San Diego County Board of Supervisors for supporting the Academy so it can remain a reliable, safe haven for foster teens to be nurtured and to thrive. The Academy is a community that offers youth broad and lasting connections far beyond graduation, but a robust referral system is key to its success. It is vital that the wishes and best interests of the teens are heard and considered when deciding placement. Therefore, we respectfully request that the county commit to improving the referral system that assesses potential placement of foster youth at SPA. The committee that reviews referrals could benefit from including input from other experts such as the minors' attorneys, school officials, CASAs, and representatives from Voices for Children. Please keep San Pasqual Academy open as an option for foster teens who want to live there. And please give the existing students the stability in knowing that the home and family they have come to know will not be taken away. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chair Fletcher, that concludes public comment on this item.
All right, thank you to all the commenters. I want to say a special thank you to the students at SPA who I know worked diligently through the weekend and been engaged throughout this process. I think your recommendations, your suggestions, what you see on the ground for changes you want are something this board is certainly taking to heart, and a lot of suggestions can be incorporated into the planning and work as we move forward. At the end of the day, this has always been about kids in our foster care system and how we deliver what's best for them, and that is the overarching and overriding thing. I've said from my perspective from the very beginning of engaging around this is we will do everything we can to serve as many foster kids as possible at the San Pasqual location. And we are certainly continuing that as a board with what we're moving forward with and what we're doing. And I think we have a few items here as a board that we're obviously considering. One is we were directed by the state that we would have to close operations as they existed now. We now have a preliminary injunction, which is incredibly good news. And we celebrated that ruling, that it gave us the opportunity to continue to serve foster kids in the current model. We're working with the state to be able to open up and get referrals going back in. Now, we need the folks on the receiving end of those referrals to actually accept those. And that's a long-running issue to make sure that as referrals are made for foster kids, that those kids have the opportunity to get the advantage of SPA. And we're going to do everything we can legally. There's a little bit of an unresolved legal issue there. But as a county, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that the students are there, can stay there and continue to get services, and we can refer more kids in and have them get the advantage of that. And we're going to continue to work with the state and federal government and the court system to do everything within our power to make sure that that is a reality. But we also have the opportunity in front of us to expand to other service providers, or not service providers, to other services, to bring in additional foster care services that are somewhat different than what is provided there now. And this is an opportunity, again, to have more foster youth being served by allowable programming at the San Pasqual Academy. And I think that that is a really important part of what we're doing. And so the report we received around re-envisioning San Pasqual Academy, I think was a proactive step to convene stakeholders to talk about the future, to talk about what we could do to expand. This report that we're receiving was created by former foster youth. It was created by resource families, relatives, partners of the county, county staff, many other community partners. And I appreciate all the tremendous work that has gone into this. We have watched multiple iterations of this development and getting to a place where we are now to ensure a continuum of care, that we serve as many foster youth in care as possible and provide the best level of service, the best care coordination, the best support to meet the very diverse need of this population. And so our recommendations today are expanding options in addition to continuing to provide the service that's been there with the reprieve the court has granted, which is welcome to continue operating as it has been, continue to try and refer more folks in, more youth in by working with the state. But in addition to that, we want to look for foster family homes at SPA. We want temporary shelters for youth in crisis. We want to transition to some short-term residential therapy programs, STRTP, that can help kids with a variety of needs. We want to add intensive crisis programs for foster youth and keeping the grandparents program and other community groups and resources there. And so the steps we're taking to re-envision and reinvigorate what we do there, I think is really, really important. And as we continue through all of these steps, we need to continue listening primarily to the students and foster youth who are at San Pasqual. And then in addition to that, all of the various stakeholders that are involved in trying to help us meet the unique needs and the unique opportunities. And so I want to thank the San Pasqual students, the alumni, the supporters for everyone's advocacy and dedication, everyone's patience as we work through some uncertainty around what the state is directing and what the courts are saying. We're going to continue to move ahead with doing everything we can to serve every possible foster child with world-class care and services at this unique location. So pleased to see us moving forward and going in this direction. I know each of the board members, I believe, have some comments they want to make. I'm happy to make a motion to approve the recommendations included in this report and to get us again in an ongoing process. We're going to have a lot of follow-up, a lot of check-in, and a lot of work that we have left to do. But pleased to see the direction we're going overall. Let me go first to Supervisor Boston Reamer, and then we'll go to Supervisor Desmond.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to thank staff for all of your work. Obviously caring for our foster youth is such a critical priority, and I'm just very happy to see that this is moving forward. So I know this has been a long journey, and so many people in our community have been involved in fighting for our foster youth, and I'm glad to see that we are moving towards a resolution.
All right, is that a second?
Sorry, yes, it's a second.
All right, thank you. Supervisor Desmond.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I can't tell you how happy and ecstatic I was when I heard that the San Diego Superior Court issued the preliminary injunction restraining and enjoining the state from terminating the license from the group home located there at the Academy. So I was really, really happy. It was kind of frustrating what we had to go through last year with the state. But I want to say thank you to Dr. Giardina and the Child Welfare Services staff for your very comprehensive work guiding the future of San Pasqual Academy. I know a lot of things turned around very quickly, and you had certainly rose to the challenge. But the foster children are the responsibility of the county, and I'm glad that this plan incorporates the past and the future for the academy. We know there are limits to what we can do, and the path we must take is to keep at the San Pasqual Academy a thriving community for all foster youth. While the judge has allowed the SPA to continue by issuing a preliminary injunction, we must move forward with this new vision and keep hope alive with the original vision as well. Many of the San Pasqual Academy visionary leaders, I know all of the the supervisors on the board, got an email from them, but I'm just going to kind of reiterate what they were asking for. And this includes retired supervisors, Greg Cox, Ron Roberts, along with Judge Jim Milliken. We're also joined by Rick Shea, the president of the San Diego County Board of Education, Joan Scott, Friends of SPA, Mitch Mitchell, Yvonne Campbell, have all respectfully asked the board to consider the following. And I'm going to like to offer that staff consider their requests moving forward. And it doesn't have to be part of the motion, but and I appreciate there's always been a motion in a second, but what they were asking for is to assure current SPA students of their continued residency by a direct statement that SPA will continue to serve youth on the campus and now and into the future, which I think our chair expressed, and hope I'm imagining the rest of this board as well agrees. And to accelerate the process to increase the SPA student population. The San Diego County Board of Education is ready to increase the staffing and services for an increased student population. And the other ask was to commit to improve the referral system that assesses potential placement of foster youth at the academy. And the revision of a referral process should also include a review of those youth that were previously referred to the SPA, but were not accepted for placement at that time. And the committee that reviews referrals could benefit from including the experts of additional inputs from others, such as minors' attorneys, schools officials, court-appointed advocates, and representatives from the Voices for Children. So given that San Diego County's court's opinion on the SPA is properly licensed through the state of California, please formally request that the state of California seek a waiver of the Families First Act provision that precludes federal funding from the SPA operations. It'd be great to get those federal dollars back again. So San Diego County has successfully sought foster care waivers in the past, and San Pasqual's Academy unprecedented success will likely lead to a favorable granting of the waivers request. So I want to say thank you again to county staff for the hard work in keeping and making the San Pasqual Academy a success now and into the future. So happy to support this item.
Thank you, Supervisor Desmond. Thank you. Supervisor Anderson.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher. I just had a couple quick questions. By the way, I'm absolutely delighted to support this today, and I think that you certainly spoke to me when you addressed this earlier, Chair Fletcher. But with the San Diego Court's opinion, is there a possibility for an appeal, and is there a deadline for an appeal? And then my follow-up question, and I'm not, maybe county council has an answer for that, but do we have any inkling what the new license will look like? Has the state indicated anything to staff that what would be included in it, or are they able to anticipate what would be included in it? Those are my two quick questions.
Yeah, let's give before we go to council or child welfare staff who may know the ins and outs. I mean, I think it's certainly my opinion. I think a universal agreement amongst supervisors, the County of San Diego would never appeal the ruling. We wanted to keep kids at SPA. We wanted to continue to do it. And so when this ruling came out, of course, we would never appeal it. I think we all thought the preliminary injunction was good news because we could continue to serve kids. Having said that, let me go to council or child welfare staff, whoever's most appropriate, to walk through the timeline.
And by the way, I'm not suggesting that we should.
I know you weren't. No.
Shape or form. I'm delighted.
We throughout the duration of the Supervisor Anderson, we've heard so many things, aspersions cast at members of this board and staff around things that were just not true. They weren't true a year ago. They aren't true today. And so sometimes we have to over clarify what we all know to be obvious because of the nature of the tone and tenor, really unprofessional tone and tenor at many regards of how this conversation has gone. And when you look at a county that has worked so hard to fight and be in a position to serve kids, I think it's important to just to make sure we're all clear about our position as a county and where we are. But let me ask council and or child welfare staff to walk through the timeline on appeal and also the nature of the preliminary injunction and what the next steps are ahead for the court. And then we'll come back to you, Supervisor Anderson, to finish your comments.
Thank you.
Yes, Chair Fletcher, if I may, in response to your question, without revealing any strategy, of course, but a preliminary injunction is just that. It's a favorable ruling from the judge. It happened in early December, which is very promising in order to keep the spa open. However, there still is a time period which will end soon in February for an appeal of another party, including the state. And even after that, the court process can go on for some time, perhaps in midsummer. And again, these dates are flexible. At that point, we'd get a final ruling if it proceeds that way. And of course, that can go either way, although again, this judge has been favorable. At that point, further appeals could take place. Those appeals sometimes, especially with the COVID backup of the courts, have taken a year. So as the county plans the outcomes of this, I guess it's sufficient to say it's uncertain but favorable right now. And so that's sort of roughly the timeline that we have.
All right. Supervisor Anderson, answer your question.
Yeah, that's great. The secondary question is what any new licensing would look like, because we know that they're based on the opinion, we are going to get a new license.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Anderson. So the preliminary injunction maintains the existing group home license. So the standards for that remain the same and are already written. We don't know yet if the state would make any changes to those requirements at this time.
And then my follow-up is the waiver that the former that we've gotten in the past, would that be appropriate to apply for that waiver again based on this information, or would it be inappropriate at this time? The federal waiver.
Supervisor, I think that would be a conversation we'd certainly need to have with the state. And I think given that this is only a preliminary injunction, we may need to wait to finalize the litigation on this.
Thank you so much. And by the way, great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Anderson. Vice Chair Vargas.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to say thank you to all my colleagues for their comments. And I just want to say thank you to Kim for all the work and for the team and, to everyone who has been engaged in this process. I think it was one of the first issues that was brought to my attention on day one, right, last year as a member of the Child Family Strengthening Advisory Board. And so it's definitely good news to hear that the court, through this preliminary injunction, is allowing for the current licensing to remain in place. While I'm sure that for many, this preliminary decision is comforting to hear, for others, this really might be causing some uneasiness. And so I want to emphasize that the most important thing for me is focusing on the youth and ensuring, like many of my colleagues have said, their well-being. So I want to make sure that as San Pasqual Academy continues to operate in this current state, and begin to transition into becoming a continuum of care, multi-purpose campus for foster youth, that the current youth, as well as any new placements, are informed of the situation. It is really important for us to be transparent and to communicate information to our youth in a sensitive way about the current state of affairs in an effort to minimize any confusion and reduce any potential stress or trauma. From listening to previous testimony, it is clear to me that for many San Pasqual Academy, if I'm visiting and from listening to them and just hearing their stories, that what's really important to them and to the community of San Pasqual is what it offers, which is a sense of belonging and having a support system for all of them. And so as we're moving forward with the remaining of San Pasqual Academy and consider other uses for this campus to serve our foster youth population, I really believe that it's key that we don't lose sight of those positive elements, and we need to ensure that we provide the support needed to uplift our youth and foster an environment that cultivates a sense of belonging. So thank you again, everybody, for the great work. And I'm crossing my fingers that it's going to continue to be positive as we're moving forward. So happy to support the recommendation today.
Thank you, Vice Chair Vargas. So we've got a motion by myself, second by Supervisor Lawson-Remer, to approve the recommendations here. Just final point, again, I want to reiterate to the youth at San Pasqual who called in today, and I know have worked so hard. We hear you. We hear the changes you want. We hear the direction and influence that you think will best equip you and prepare you for life, and we will work tirelessly to do that. And so we thank you for that effort. Second is I want to take a moment to thank Kim Giardino, Dr. Giardino, our Director of Child Welfare. Kim, you dedicate your entire life to serving foster youth, and I've watched tirelessly as you've implemented 88 plus recommendations to transform our system and done the work. And I've watched as you've worked through a very difficult situation as it relates to San Pasqual, where you have an obligation to respond to what the state is directing we have to do and to figure out how to do that in the best way. And I've watched as you have been unfairly maligned and attacked in incredibly disgusting ways. And you never let any of that deter you from doing what was right for the kids, and you never lost the focus that this is about the kids in our foster care system and how we best serve them. And I think that's to be commended. The ability to never lose sight of the goal and what we're doing. And we stand here now because of a favorable preliminary injunction that we can continue the world-class service that we've all wanted to continue while we work through the court system and hopefully get some absolute certainty and finality around that. And while we reform the referral process. The reality is for years, a lot of kids were being referred there and they weren't being accepted, and that isn't right. And so we can work to take the world-class operation that has been there for so many years and make it better and make it serve more kids. And we can take all of these additional services that can now be incorporated as we move ahead into the operations at San Pasqual to serve more kids in more ways and truly continue a great legacy of what San Pasqual was meant in an enhanced way. And we're very, very grateful to you and your team for what we're doing. And then to our board that has worked through this. Again, I think we've arrived at the best possible situation we are. We obviously want much greater certainty. And for those students who are there, this board will do everything we can to keep you there, to provide you great service, to support the environment that is there, and then to expand the service offering so that more kids can have an advantage and more foster youth can have the opportunity to really have their life put in a good direction and a loving, safe, and supportive place. So we have a lot of work left ahead of us as we move forward, but I think we're moving in a good direction, and we should all be grateful for that. So with that, we have a motion by myself, seconded by Supervisor Lawson-Remer. Let me ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you. Supervisor Anderson.
Aye.
Supervisor Lawson-Remer.
Aye.
Supervisor Desmond.
Aye.
Vice Chair Vargas.
Vargas, aye.
Chair Fletcher.
Fletcher, aye.
That motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Thank you. We're going to go to agenda item number 20, raising the bar for a more accessible San Diego County, an item brought forward by Vice Chair Vargas. We will go first to Vice Chair Vargas for comments and then go to public speakers.
Give me 1 second, Chair. I'm having issues with my computer today.
You want us to take the speakers first, or we can wait a minute?
Can you go ahead and take the speakers? Thank you.
Let's take the speakers and then we'll come back to you. Let me ask the clerk to call forward the speakers on this item.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher. We have 3 requests to speak by phone on this item. We also received 6 e-comments. All of those were in favor. Any members of the public that requested to speak on item 20 by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. Chair, we're just waiting on the callers to dial in at this time. And I see one of the callers has dialed in. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep, and you'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please begin by stating your name for the audio record. I'll remind the callers that they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll begin with our first caller.
Sandra, so, well, I was trying to talk on the last one because foster care is super corrupt. And so I just wonder, you know, why was that stuff found on your computer, Nathan? Anyway, so you want to raise the bar for accessible disabilities for San Diego. You guys realize that you're creating disabilities by giving these vaccines, you're actually, ruining people's lives. If that was a way to, raise the bar, you would stop the injection. But why would you do that? Because that would go against your agenda. Why would you do what's right for the people? That would go against your agenda. Why would you try and save people's lives? That would go against your agenda. You want to, stop or help disabilities, but you won't stop them from occurring within the county. You guys are taking everybody's way of protecting themselves, be it with a gun, just protecting their own bodily autonomy. You want to make it so that there's no police force or whatever to, make sure that they can look out for us. Just very sad because you say you want to raise the bar when in fact every time you do something, you lower the bar and lower it and lower it instead of actually doing something to mitigate the problems that are actually taking place. You want to act like, oh my gosh, there isn't a problem with, people losing their jobs, or, you can't go into a hospital and get care. Oh my gosh, what's going on? We need to make something to mitigate this, instead of actually looking at the problem, which is you guys. You guys are the problem. And until you're out of those seats, these problems will never disappear. You will continue to act like you're fixing the issues when basically you're killing people and acting like you're trying to solve a problem. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. And Chair Fletcher, that concludes public comment on this item.
All right, let's go to back to Vice Chair Vargas.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher. I appreciate that. This is a very important board letter that I hope my colleagues will support. In San Diego County, it is estimated that over 300,000 individuals are living with some type of disability. People with disabilities in our community are especially vulnerable due to lack of access to accessible transportation, healthcare, and education. The pandemic exposed the severity of some of these inequities, and even though we have laws in place through the Americans with Disabilities Act passed in 1990, some of our residents are still being left behind. When it comes to healthcare, for example, people with disabilities are more prone to heart disease, diabetes, and other illnesses, and 1 in 3 have an unmet healthcare need because of cost. Students with disabilities graduate at 67% rate, which is nearly 18% lower than those without disability. And people with disabilities have highest unemployment rates in the country, with only about 18% of individuals having a job in 2020. When we talk about equity, it is important that we acknowledge the disparities that impact the lives of all of our residents. As a safety net for our community, we need to continue breaking down barriers and improve accessibility to services and programs so that every one of our residents has an opportunity to thrive and not only to survive. Therefore, the work that we do to support people with disabilities in our county is incredibly important. For some residents, we may be their only hope at living a healthy and active life in our community. So today, I'm really thrilled to introduce this board letter to raise the bar and go beyond compliance so that people with disabilities in our county have even better access to services and resources that improve their quality of life. This board letter will help achieve this and help identify additional opportunities for the county and facilities accessibility improvements and access to services and programs by directing the Chief Administrative Officer to identify areas within the county services, programs, and activities to increase communication regarding access to enhance accessibility for people with disabilities, to engage the community to receive input on how to increase awareness about access, also to work with the County of San Diego Committee for Persons with Disability to receive input on these areas and how do we implement these recommendations. This summer in the United States, we will be commemorating the 32nd years since the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And as many advocates did before its passing, we should continue to work to support and uplift the contributions that people with disabilities bring to our society. Accessibility is not only good for people with disabilities, but also for everyone in our community. I want to thank county staff for the work you do to support people with disabilities. I call on my colleagues on the board to support this board letter and raise the bar so that the County of San Diego provides even greater access to programs, services, and activities for people with disabilities. With that, I respectfully request support for this motion.
Thank you. I'm happy to second your motion and commend you for bringing this forward and the work we have to truly be an accessible county for all. With that, we've got a motion by Vice Chair Vargas, seconded by myself. Not seeing any additional requests to speak and having already heard from the public speakers in this item, let me ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you. Supervisor Anderson.
Aye.
Supervisor Lawson-Remer.
Aye.
Supervisor Desmond?
Aye.
Vice Chair Vargas?
Vargas, aye.
Chair Fletcher?
Fletcher, aye.
That motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
All right, I want to open it up real quick for any board committee reports or groups individuals serve on. Anything that members of the board would like to share with fellow board members and the public. Not seeing any requests, we will go to adjournments in memory. We have one adjournment in memory today. That will be from Supervisor Desmond honoring Pastor Ray Bentley. Supervisor Desmond.
Thank you, Chair. Pastor Ray Bentley, he's a resident of Escondido and the founder and senior pastor of Maranatha Chapel in San Diego. He passed away on January 4th at age 64. So Ray Bentley was known around town as Pastor Ray. He grew up in El Cajon. He attended El Cajon Valley High School, where he began his first ministry as a high school Bible study. Pastor Ray founded the non-denominational California Christian Church in August of 1984, when he began teaching a small Bible study in a recreational center with about 30 people. Maranatha Chapel now serves a weekly congregation of over 7,000 people throughout its various ministries. Pastor Ray reached thousands more on his radio shows, ministries, and on his website, where he and many of his messages and devotionals can still be read. He's also an author, and many considered him an expert in biblical prophecy. He's married to his wife, Vicky, of 40 years, and she served in the ministry as well with him. They have 2 grown children along with their spouses and 6 grandchildren. I had the opportunity of meeting Pastor Ray last summer, and I was impressed with his leadership, generosity, and kindness. So we send our deepest condolences to his family, congregation, and friends. And may Pastor Ray Bentley's soul rest in peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Desmond. We're going to return to non-agendized public communication. Let me ask the clerk if we have any remaining speakers for non-agendized public communication.
Thank you, Chair Fletcher. There are 14 remaining individuals that requested to speak on matters not listed on the agenda. For those that requested to speak, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll give the callers just a moment to dial in. Chair Fletcher, I'm not seeing any calls in the conference line at this time.
All right, that will conclude the business before the board today. As a board, we will reconvene immediately in closed session. With that, we stand adjourned.
The board will now recess into closed session to consider those matters listed under item 21 on today's agenda. If there are any reportable actions, they will be reported out during the planning and land use session of this meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 26, 2022.